world, let's chat it up. We're talking competitions, uniforms, and all of the above. It's the Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Moms, your podcast is on.
I'm going to keep this intro short, mostly because I want to get right into the episode because I just listened back to it again and it's so good, you guys. But I'm also going to keep the intro short because I need to get back to my show. I am binge watching my first, this might surprise you guys. This is where I veer off a little bit from the Cheer Mom pack. I don't think that I have ever watched like current day reality TV, like the trashy kind that everyone knows and loves. I now understand why everyone knows and loves it, but I have not really, other than like Survivor and The Amazing Race, which, let's be honest, like, does that really count as reality TV now? Other than those shows, I have not watched like unscripted TV since The Real World Seattle. That was where it was at, guys. Only some people know, but man, Real World Seattle, that's, man, with Irene and those two guys from military school and Janet with the curly hair, I think what's her name? Real World. But I don't know, like, I've never seen The Bachelor. Please still listen to the show. I have never seen Real Housewives. I think I've seen a couple of episodes of The Kardashians, and I stay away from it partly because I'm one of those that, like, I don't like to be mainstream. I'm not a hipster by any sense of the word, but like, if it's mainstream, I'm like, I want to be individual. But more than that, I also know myself and I get sucked in real fast. I get sucked in, I binge, and then I start to act like the thing that I am consuming. So I love to read, and even as a young child, if I was reading like a period piece, a period novel from like, I loved like the Little House on the Prairie era and sort of those kinds of books where the women are sweeping the floors and baking their own bread and offering people coffee every time they just stopped by, and they would do their hair really pretty. I loved Anne of Green Gables and the series and the movie on PBS. I would adapt to those things, and so like I would do I'm not joking, as a sixth grader, it was so not cool. I would do my hair in like the buns and I would bake bread and I would like to clean and be very domestic. And then there are books that I've read that are like written in an accent. And so I start speaking like that and I start speaking with those accents or using those words. And so you can imagine how quickly that translates into reality TV, and I've even now found myself in conversations using that attitude of like, well, what do you mean by that? You think you're better than me? I don't know what it is that I've done to you, but like being very like not confrontational because I hate confrontation, but like in my own definition, I am confrontational, and people probably don't even notice, but like I notice. And then I start to I'm like, why am I feeling anxiety? Why do I feel like somebody's mad at me? Why do I feel like I have to go fix something? And I'm like, oh, I remember, because Stassi and Sheena are fighting again and it's really bothering me. Yes, I have started watching Vanderpump Rules. If you don't know what it is and you've never watched it, I don't suggest. It's really good, but like it'll suck you in. So I was sick a couple of weeks ago and I I usually like to watch like deep thinking things or like feel good things, but I was so sick that there was nothing that I could put in like a mental or emotional investment into. I just needed like, honestly, like trash. And Vanderpump Rules has fulfilled that for me. And now I'm invested. Like it's the same thing over and over, and you can totally tell when the producers have fabricated something or when something is staged. Spoiler alert, like it's almost everything, you guys. Like if you watch the background, if you watch what people are doing. Okay, I did watch Dance Moms, and this is a good example. There was a fight in Dance Moms, and I was watching it with my daughter, and I was like, look, that's not part of the same conversation. Do you see the clock in the background? The clock is showing different times throughout this conversation. And it was a matter of hours of difference. And I was like, this is not how this happened because the clock is different. And those are the kinds of things that I noticed. So anyway, but I'm still invested. And Lisa Vanderpump is like one of my heroes now. I want to be her when I grow up. I started watching because, see, I said I was going to keep this intro short, and this is certainly not a reality TV podcast, but I only started watching, because I was sick. But there is, for those of you who know VPR, short for Vanderpump Rules, there is a huge lawsuit happening, and they're calling it Scandival, and it's this whole thing with like one of the main people in the series. And I follow a lawyer who covers like pop culture lawsuits. And so she's talking about this lawsuit and she's reading the lawsuit, and I'm like, who are these people? What's going on? And people are so invested in this scandal and this lawsuit. I'm like, okay, I've heard people talking about Vanderpump Rules. Some of my best friends throughout the years have watched Vanderpump Rules, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna see what it's all about. And I'm one that like, I have to see from the very beginning. Like I need to watch for the clues. I need to know these people. So I started season 1, episode 1. That was a couple of weeks ago. I'm in season 4 already. Don't judge me. I have the privilege and luxury of some days all I do is edit photos, which doesn't require a lot of creative thinking. It's a lot of technical stuff, and so I can have the show on in the background while I'm working. So I'm season 4, and I'm in it, and I've posted about it a couple of times in my stories, and all of these cheer moms have come out of not the woodwork, but I've gotten more comments on that than I have on anything in the last couple of weeks. And so like my close cheer mom friends, I'm texting them like, okay, here's my update for today on VPR, and here are my thoughts. And I get it now because like we all know that it's trash. We all know that a lot of it is fake. But we're in it and we have to like process it with each other. I'm in it. If you are a VPR viewer, I would appreciate the support and the ability to process it through with you. So shoot me a DM, like let's talk about it. I have all kinds of thoughts. So much for making this intro short. It has nothing to do with this episode. I digress. Today's episode is it's so special to me. Samantha Ryan, if you don't know her, she is a Rebel feature model. She's been on the cover of the Rebel Couture lookbook. She has been on the Rebel trips. She is a Navarro cheerleader and many, many other things. But somebody that I have known since she was small. And I had the opportunity to actually have her here with me in the Cheer Mom Podcast studio to talk about becoming a Rebel feature model and what it's like to be a Navarro cheerleader. And those two roles combined make her into a role model. And she talks about the pressures of that. She talks about things that she says not many people talk about. And she has some advice for cheer moms and athletes. and she is just such a sweetheart, and I so appreciate her spending time with me. Let's all wish Samantha a huge good luck as she heads off with Navarro Cheer to Daytona for NCAA College Nationals in like less than 2 weeks. This is a great episode to listen to with your athletes. Sam is a fantastic role model for our athletes, for your daughters. I hope you get the opportunity to meet her at a cheer event. She is wonderful, and I know she's going to do great things. We love you, Samantha. Good luck in Daytona. Here is our conversation. Samantha, welcome. We did it.
We made it here.
I've known you a while.
Right.
You've known me a while.
Yes.
Started way back in your like middle school years.
Yeah. I think, what was it, 7th grade? Ever since the beginning of 7th grade. I don't know how.
That feels forever ago.
Oh, yeah.
You were blonde then.
I know. I was blonde.
And you had braces for a really, really long time. We were like rooting for you to get your braces off. You're like, I have to take care of my teeth. And then I don't remember what it was, but you're like, guys, I might get my braces off in 18 months.
Right.
And then 18 months later, you're like, guys, it might just be 6 more months.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was awful. You knew me during my awkward. It was awkward for everyone. Well,
you were beautiful too. And your teeth, might I add, are absolutely perfect. For all the kids listening, like, how do you keep them straight?
braces for however long that was, and actually wear your bands when you're told to wear your bands.
That's what it was. You were not wearing your bands.
I would never do it, and I would like triple up on them right before the appointment. I was smart about it, and I got them. But now I have problems with my bites, so just PSA to everyone.
That's what it was. We were like offering to buy you bands. And Sam, do you have your bands?
Never had her.
Okay. So back to when we first met.
Yeah.
I don't remember that day specifically. I just remember you always being in the back seat of my car.
Yeah, because we had a carpool going. Always needed a ride to cheer practice. So,
do you remember the time when one parent who is not to be named forgot that it was their day? And you don't remember this. I remember it. Like, I was mortified. I wasn't the one who forgot.
Okay.
I was like, I don't think they're coming. And by the time we all realized that they weren't coming, you guys were going to be really late. And you were on the world's team at the time. And it's not good to be late to any cheer practice, but like a world's cheer practice, it was intense.
It was upset.
Your friend Brenna had spent the night, and so we were all driving you to cheer practice together. So your dad was like, just meet me at the coffee shop and I will drive them up there. And what I should have said was, like, you guys go, and Abby will just be behind. It's better to make one kid late rather than 4 kids late to practice. But no, your dad was awesome. And he was like, no, teamwork makes the dream work.
Right.
Like, we're all going to be late together.
Funny.
And I got there, and you and Brenna were like, rightfully not. If you weren't mad at us, it was just the situation.
Yeah.
You were
We
not
were
happy,
probably
and you were scared.
Yeah.
Because you knew the coaches were going to be unhappy with you.
Right.
And I don't think I'll ever forget that look of, oh my gosh, I have disappointed elite level cheerleaders. And it wasn't even like my fault, but like I took responsibility. And I just remember, I'm sorry.
No,
I let you down.
Remember it.
I let Samantha Ryan down.
That's funny though. I'm still scared to be late to a practice this day, but I can only imagine that I was quite terrified.
You were also really good at convincing me to stop at Wendy's on the way home.
Oh, I do remember that.
I'm like, I want the girls to like me. Okay.
I'm
like, please.
I remember I'd sometimes bring it up nonchalantly. Guys, it's really good right now. I know it too. I'm just like so persuasive that I know that's how I went about it.
Yeah.
And It would work. And it usually would work on Eric too. When me and Abby would team up,
Oh, yeah.
we would never fail, ever.
Abby, my daughter, was always like, Eric takes us. Eric and Christina, they let us get the big frosties. And I'm like, you guys, it is 10 o'clock at night. I am so tired.
That just sounded like the perfect after practice snack. Would be a giant frosty, and then I'm awake for the rest of the night because I have sugar.
Yeah, there were times when I wouldn't let you guys.
No.
You guys have big tests tomorrow. You need to get some sleep. You remember when I would say no?
Yes.
Was I like
do.
a tough one?
No, you weren't tough. I could tell that you fought the urge to say yes.
I remember when I first knew that you were a really good cheerleader. It wasn't when you got a double at 12 or whatever.
Gosh.
It was when on Cleo, you were like the first year of Cleo, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the tip, like what's this called? It's not a pyramid, but like the point of the jumps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't your jumps either. It was, you had this cute move that you did.
Oh, yes, I remember it.
It was like this, like
It went this
Egyptian,
way.
and you like went like this, and I was like, she is so cute, and her like performance was so cute, and that's when I like tuned in. That's when I became a fan.
Okay. That's okay. Cleo was like, I feel like my prime time era, which is crazy to say because that was so long ago. Junior level 4, Cleo, I just thought like the theme of it was so like, just so iconic. Like I was just like, I really can get into this. And being point jumper there and like doing all those cool motions. And even at the beginning, like I had a cool motion. I was in the middle where I would just stand there like that, praying hands. Like it was just like chef's kiss, so iconic. I don't remember who choreographed that routine, but it was amazing. And that first year, I don't remember if it was the first or second year at Summit that we got second. I was really devastated. Really devastated. That's like
a second.
That was also the lowest in my cheer career because we were
so close. Could have won the whole
close.
thing.
I know. It sucks. But yeah, I had fun doing that too. But yeah, I love
Cleopatra.
That was just whoever came up with that idea. It's genius.
Smart.
Yeah.
It was the bun era. Let's deep dive into this topic.
Oh my gosh.
Give me your thoughts on cheer hair.
Okay, so I think thoughts on cheer hair. I started cheerleading when the big poop in the front and poof in the ponytail was a thing. And I still think that's just the ultimate like cheer look. That's what you look like when you think of cheerleading in my eyes. And maybe that's just because what I grew up knowing. So when I went from that to the buns, it was a bit hard transition for me. And it was hard to figure out bun situation. It was very difficult.
Well, because you have a lot of hair.
It took forever. And it took multiple people in several different tries every day. But yeah, so the buns are not my favorite in the world. They're also cute and clean.
What are the key elements of a good poof?
The teasing is very crucial. And the way you tease your hair is you can't just put it into a knot and expect it to look good.
Is your mom good at hair? She seems like she is.
Yes, she is good at doing her hair. But
don't talk bad about your mom on this podcast.
Mom, I love you. But my mom likes the way that I do hair more than the way she likes doing her hair.
Okay.
So she'll have me do her hair. Not saying she's bad at it. Like she's done.
Did she tease your hair for cheer? And
yeah,
you have sisters. Does she tease their hair for cheer?
Yeah, she's not a big teaser. Say like she never did my big poofs. Like I had to rely on the older kids around me to do that when I was younger.
Okay.
But she would obviously do my makeup and fix my hair and make sure I look perfect. And like now, it's easier now. Everly does a high pony that's curled, and I don't even know what Dylan does. Probably a high pony too. It's a lot easier now than it used to be.
Well, people keep trying to make the poof come back.
Let's do it. I'm all for it.
This is where we part ways.
Okay. That's okay.
Hated the Abby's first year of cheer was the poof and the teased pony. and the bow had to stand up straight. And I don't know if the hair pieces were a thing then. I'm sure they
Oh,
were.
the little side ones.
No, the
Oh,
ponytails.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
They have to be done a certain way to look like you want them to look.
Well, yes, and I just think when I say crazy, like I could not figure out how to get that to stay in my hair, and I would be terrified.
That's the age-old question. That's
I
what all the
couldn't.
moms are asking in the Facebook groups, like, how do I get the
I don't
pony to
know.
stay?
I really could not tell you.
So I don't think that those were, if they were a thing, they were not in my orbit when
Right.
I was doing the teased hair.
Right.
And my daughter, I'm going to feel your hair awkwardly. Yeah, my daughter has more hair than you. Your hair's long, but she has a lot of hair
Yeah,
and always has.
yeah.
And I remember it was our very last competition
Mhm.
before I figured out how to do that stinking tease. And I was like, I never want to do this again. Like, it's enough
Right.
to make me not let you do cheer.
Yeah.
And then they switched to the bun, and I kind of got the hang of it.
Okay, that's
more.
good. Yeah,
But the teased hair,
yeah.
and especially on the girls with like really fine hair, it's an issue.
I guess I understand that, and I do see why people do wear what are they're called posh ponies, right?
Oh yeah, not an ad.
Not an ad, but they're called posh ponies, and I see why people do that so that they don't have to tease their real hair as much, which is smart. I just think I don't know.
You have to. I've noticed that it can be done well, but by many.
Oh yeah,
And I have to give a shout out to some of the moms at NorCal Elite because some of their youth athletes have the pony. What did you call it?
posh pony.
Posh pony. I don't know if it's a posh pony,
I don't
but
know if it is. We could just be.
shout out to those moms
Yeah.
that like they know how to do it, and I would love for them to do a tutorial because
Oh, yeah.
I grew up. My mom's a hairstylist, and
Okay.
I was like, "Is that your hair?" It
Yeah.
was so good. You have been in like all-star cheerleading since you were how old?
5 or 5.
Itty bitty.
Yeah, really a tiny team.
Was that? How did you get into it? Because I didn't even know that world existed until we were there.
It's actually a funny story. So I think it was very accidental. I did dance before. I was like a little dancer. Yeah.
Really?
And so I did that for a little bit, obviously just serious. I was so young. But my dad was actually working out at fitness gym. And at the time, my first cheer gym, Stunts Academy, it was very small gym. It was upstairs, like, and my dad was like, he knew the owner, and so he was like, I'm just gonna take her there, let her frolic while I go work out, and it was like perfect, and I just fell in love with it. I would watch like the older kids do cheerleading and tumble. I'm like, do that? Like, how do I do that? So then I started actually taking tumbling lessons and started to develop like a love for tumbling and cheering. And I just think like the biggest thing was honestly watching the older kids and just like wanting to do whatever they did. I wanted to learn how to stunt and jump, do baskets. I was just so infatuated with it. So then my parents were like, okay, let's just put her on a team and see what happens. And then I just never stopped.
The rest is history.
Exactly.
It's been quite a big part of your life for almost your whole life.
Yeah. It's really crazy to think I've been doing it for so long.
And do you think that my carpool driving skills contributed to your current success?
Yes,
Or,
absolutely.
I mean, I'm not saying that it did.
No, it did. Everyone contributed. And I couldn't have, I don't know, I couldn't have made it through without everyone involved. So
You're welcome.
you did some part of it. Thank you.
So, okay, all joking aside. So you've gone through, have you been on every level, 1 through 7 now?
Yeah, I believe. Because I remember I went from level 3 to a level 5 team at the time, which that was when level 5 was technically level 6.
Yeah.
Yes, when
Oh,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
switch happened. So it was a level 5 world team. Yeah, I think it was a world's team. I've been restricted, but I just don't remember. But I skipped level 4 So then that's when they asked me if I wanted to do Cleo. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay.
So you got to do.
Yeah, I got to do every level, which was fun. And it was hard to jump from a level 3 to a level 5 like that. I was able to
I
have that in
forgot about
between.
that. I forgot that it used to be level 5 worlds.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on now Junior 6 not being invited to worlds?
I think there's like multiple different ways you can do that. You can think of it as senior, obviously worlds is just senior teams, but I think that if there's even a junior level 6 team that's able to happen, that they should be able to compete at the cheerleading world, in my opinion.
I think I agree.
And I think that everyone could have mixed emotions on that, but I think it's only fair. They put in the same
you
amount
have
of work.
12-year-olds throwing doubles.
Yeah.
I think they deserve to.
I agree. I completely agree because they've worked as hard as everyone else.
I've seen, and there are not many junior level 6. I think what there's. I'm not gonna say how many because if I'm wrong, people say that's when I get comments. Right. So there are not that many junior level 6 teams, but the 1 or 2 that I have seen in person are better than most worlds teams.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it. I haven't seen one yet this season, but
they're
dig into
so
that.
Good.
So they're gonna compete at Summit. They're gonna be level 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I still think they should. That sounds amazing.
Great. Okay, so you've competed at all levels. You're now a Navarro cheerleader. You are a Rebel feature model.
Yep.
You're very famous. Yeah. Yes, she is.
You say that to me all the time.
Very famous.
Sorry.
Yeah, I am famous.
You.
I'm not famous. You're more famous than me.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Prove it.
How am I gonna prove that?
Well, see, that means that I'm right.
No.
Who's more famous? Because I think it's Samantha. Okay, so when you were in the heart of your love for cheerleading, whenever that was, when you were like, I want to keep doing this, I want to work toward a world's team, or I want to be in cheer in college, did you ever think that cheer would take you to the places that you are now?
No, not at all. I wasn't a Rebel model until my junior year of high school. And I never even thought that I would have the opportunity to cheer at Navarro. And so, like, thinking of any time before that, I would have just thought I would attempt to cheer in college. I'd have to let go of it at some point. And I couldn't imagine. I had no idea that a whole different world of cheerleading, like, even existed at this point. Like, I just thought it was something on the cheer show. Like, I don't remember. I was show.
It was like sophomore or junior.
Yeah, sophomore year maybe. And I'm like, well, that's when I feel like the majority of the rest of the world started to understand like the college level cheerleading. And so I think then after the show came out, I was obviously motivated. I didn't think that I would ever have the opportunity to a place like that, but I wanted to come as close as I could possibly fit to it. So I started pushing myself a little bit more, preparing myself for college, getting back into co-ed stunting, trying to do all of that. But I just never expected to become a Rebel model. Before I became a Rebel model, I had never anything. It was cool because I feel like my cheer life had just quick turn, everything changed.
So how did Rebel enter your life then?
So I was cheering. I was on a world's team, and I had a coach bring it to my attention and like, you should really try to be a Rebel model or like an ambassador of some sort. I was like, sure, I'll do that. And I didn't really understand it fully when it was first brought to my attention. And then I started doing like research and saying, oh, take some of their models on these trips. That's so cool. And all the different photo shoots, the events and things like that. And I was like, okay, I think this is something I actually want. And so I submitted online audition situation. And I was like, I want to go to the in-person one in Dallas. So I think we're going to go. And so me and my friend, we went there and my mom took me. I just was so awkward. I don't know. Rebel does, you get a number when you go to this audition and they have you do a mini photo shoot. And I just held my number and smiled. And they were like, okay, pose. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Whatever. That was awful. I was not very good at picture taking at that time. So then there was like a talent portion. And I was like, I don't know that I have a talent other than flipping my body, which this is a cheer situation. So they have to have some form of air track in one. So I did tumbling on an air track and then went on my way. And then I remember it wasn't long after that because I think it was in July when the auditions were. I was at my cheer practice and my coach called me into his office and he like made it a big deal to the rest of my team. It was really funny. There's a secret that I know and you guys don't know and Sam's about to know. It was really funny. He was just like so excited for me. But I went into the room and they called me. It was Abby. And she told me, she was like, we really liked your auditions and everything. We love your personality, all of those things, and offered to take me to Greece that year to do modeling. And I was like, I just so much shock. Like, I remember that video. I watch it now. I'm like, oh gosh. But I like literally started crying because I was like, what? I don't know what's going on. Someone's going to have to like explain this to me after the fact because I don't know what's happening. So it was really quite a shock to me, but that's how I got into it. And it was really crazy because I had really never modeled. And then all of a sudden I was modeling in Greece. And, oh gosh. Some of those first pictures of me, everyone obviously that I went on the trip with was so supportive, like wanted to help me. And I couldn't have done it without them because it was really stressful. It was really hard to learn everything. Like props to everyone who like does modeling whatsoever because it was really hard to figure out. And sometimes my mom told me, she was like, I can put you in modeling like classes situation, like someone to help you. I was like, no, I'll figure it out. It's fine. And I am figuring it out. I'm still figuring it out. But
we are all still figuring whether we're a model or not.
Yeah, but no, it was really cool. I don't know, meeting everyone on that trip, and Greece to this day is still one of my favorite trips I've done.
Okay, so we fast forward. You are modeling in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
You graduate high school.
Yeah, crazy.
Somewhere in there, most people in the cheer world already knew that Navarro was one of the best and was a huge successful team. But Navarro gets catapulted to success.
Mm-hmm.
You are invited to be on the team. You're a feature. You're on the cover of Rebel's lookbook. You're doing meet and greets. Now you're like catapulted to cheer fame.
I wouldn't use babe.
Yes. Cheer celebrity status. And how does that feel?
It feels good. Was definitely, I feel like it happened like fast. Like I went from going to just like cheer practices from day to day. Like you said, doing events and meet and greets and Navarro and Rebel photo shoots. Like it just took a turn aggressively. And it took a while to get used to it. And honestly, I did a few meet and greets before I actually made the team at Navarro. So but that wasn't like, I wouldn't do that all the time. I didn't have people who wanted to meet me yet. So I feel like Navarro definitely plays a big part in that. But I love it. I love having people tell me that they look up to me because that's my biggest thing. I have 2 little sisters and I know that they look up to me a lot. So it's like having a bunch of little sisters that look up to you and want you to succeed. And I think having that balances out the fact that there's also people who want to see you fail. And having the privilege of having younger athletes look up to me and are always rooting for me, it just overcomes everyone who like wants to see me fail. And I think that I'm lucky enough to have that. And I never want to disappoint. And I always have it like in the back of my head. It's anywhere I go, I could see a younger rebel model or a cheerleader from local cheer gym. Like, you never know. And I just like, it's almost like pressure to like never mess up, I guess you could say. But also it's what keeps me driven and what keeps me going. So I don't know, all around, I'm just like blessed. I feel like I definitely have made it this far, like doing cheerleading and like having the motivation to keep doing it with aspect cheerleading. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really crazy.
That's really beautiful what you just said. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I never really talk about it because I don't really know how to explain it. I feel like no one talks about it, about like how much of an impact other people have and, motivation and like your drive within the sport. I think that specifically, like the girls that I meet at meet and greets or just like at competitions that get excited to meet me, and I hear from other people. You tell me about girls at competitions wanting to meet me and support me, and they love me. And I just like want to give them all the biggest hug because I wouldn't be where I am and I wouldn't have the motivation to keep pushing if it wasn't them. Because you always have people that just want to see you fail.
Yeah. And I've heard some powerful things that people have said about you, that you come up in conversation, and not just because I'm like, guys, I know. Not just because I name drop and I'm like, yeah, I was hanging out with Samantha Ryan. I went to her house. She didn't know I was there. Just sat there waiting for her to come out. No, people are inspired by you, and with things that you inspire girls to fly when they don't think that they are able to fly,
Right.
because they're tall or because
Mhm.
they've never flown before or
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
You inspire them to be confident, and we have these rebel ambassadors and talent
Yeah.
coming up, and I love the program that they're doing and the confidence that they're instilling in the girls, and
Yeah.
to watch you show them how to slay in front of the camera like you do. And I think that all of those little things add up into why people love you so much.
Yeah, it's things like that, like you say, like helping people in front of a camera and doing those types of things. It brings me pure joy. I went up to Vail during an ambassador shoot, and I wasn't modeling, wasn't doing anything. My sole purpose was just to help out and make the girls feel more comfortable and pick out some poses for them to do, make some TikToks. And I just have so much fun doing that. Like I have more fun doing that and helping the little girls, and more than actually doing photo shoots, because I don't know, I just like spending time with them, and I know that they're all cheerleaders and they all want to excel in the sport, and I don't know, I just want everyone to feel comfortable in what they're doing, and especially modeling, because I just remember I was older, granted, but not knowing what to do and not knowing how to pose, feeling awkward. And it's just, I remember that feeling.
What would you say is the most challenging part about being Samantha Ryan? Whether it's modeling, whether it's the role model that you are, being a Navarro cheerleader. I think people look at you and would think she's got the perfect life. She's roommates with other famous cheer people and she gets to do all of these things and travel the world, and she's got it all together.
Yeah.
What would you say are some challenges that you face?
One of the biggest ones would be like, I don't know if pressure is the right word for this, but the pressure that comes with having more eyes on you in the cheer world, because cheerleading's tough and there's a lot of haters that want to see you fail, like I said before. And I think that it's a constant pressure of I never want to mess up. I never want to offend anyone accidentally. This is a struggle. When I first made Navarro, I had, what's the word for it? RBF.
No, yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
had a
Oh, I have
resting-
that too.
I have a bad, and it's not, I never want to come off mean to anyone.
Yeah.
And it just,
Or unapproachable.
exactly.
Or, yeah.
And I had to really focus on it because I'm like, I don't want anyone to be scared to come up to me. I don't want, like,
Yeah.
anyone to think I'm a mean person because that's not my intention whatsoever. So I had to really focus on that. That was hard. But just the constant pressure of, like, never wanting to offend anyone or mess up or say the wrong thing or anything like that. Not that, like, I would ever intentionally say something horrible or offend anyone, but I think it's just an added on pressure that, like, there's a lot of people watching your move, every single move. So
Yeah, that's pressure.
yeah, it's pressure. And I'm a person and I make mistakes and everyone makes mistakes. And I just think that since I started modeling for a company that has such an amazing impact on cheerleading, and I think that everything Rebel stands for with the Rebel Against Bullying and everything that their whole brand is about, I would never, ever want to shed a bad light on them whatsoever. And so I think I have been very careful throughout all of my time with Rebel and at all of my cheer gyms to just make sure that I'm always being, like, the best version of myself and always putting out, like, genuine content, like actually talking about what I feel and what is actually real in the world of cheerleading, but also at the same time being a good example. So I think it's pressure sometimes, but honestly, I think it was only pressure when it came to little things like my RBF and things like that I just needed to fix a little. I'm glad that I had something pushing me to fix those little things, and just it taught me to be kind to everyone and to always be supportive of everyone. So
I just want to take a second and remind the moms listening that you are 19 and saying these things.
yeah,
And I bravo to you
Thank
for
you.
one
you.
thing. But also, I just want to encourage you not to be so afraid of making mistakes.
Right. I know. And I know that. And I definitely, of course, I've made mistakes in my life. And I continue to. But I think it just is an added on pressure.
It's
but
so public.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also, it's such a blessing that I will take the pressure. I am so blessed, and I never want to take any of this time for granted when I'm able to do all these Rebel things and I'm able to cheer and just be a good role model.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love it. I didn't give you this question in advance.
Okay, that's okay.
I just thought of it.
Okay, that's fine.
But what did your mom do for you that has contributed to this measure of success that you're experiencing? And what advice would you give to cheer moms and cheerleaders that are listening?
Okay. Mine put up with the pre-competition attitude.
Can you say that
So
louder? Say it louder.
The pre-competition attitude is awful, and we all
Even
so
Samantha
different.
Ryan had pre-competition attitude, moms.
I wouldn't had. I still do. It's bad. I don't know what comes over us. It's like a weird phenomenon, and it happens to everyone. So I'm glad we're all in this together. But my mom, she was a single mom for the longest time, putting her daughter through All-Star Cheer, which is crazy and difficult to do with how expensive and crazy the sport is. And she was working a full-time job. She always made sure I was at practices, and I wouldn't even be a cheerleader if it wasn't for my mom, because when I think about it now, looking back at it, I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she stayed on top of my cheer schedule and while also trying to make money for us and do all of those things. And Yeah, she really fought for me. She knew I loved it. She wanted to keep me doing what I loved, and I wouldn't be where I am at all without her. She did that. We moved a little bit up north where I started going to a bigger cheer gym when I was in middle school. It wasn't for cheerleading, but it helps my cheer skill level. She really has made sure that I'm always taken care of. And when I would tell her, Mom, I'm struggling with this skill, okay, let's get you a private. Let's do it. Let's figure it out. I remember she said one day when I was younger, this was at my first cheer gym. She watched my jumps at a cheer competition. She was not very excited. And she was like, Samantha, we're going to stay up all night until your jumps better. I don't know how to jump myself, but we're going to figure it out, okay? I was like, okay, that's fine. And it wasn't like a mean, like, you're going to work on your jumps. Like, it was like, I just want the best for you.
We're in this
We're
together.
going to figure it out together. I'm going to look up YouTube videos. We're going to figure it out. I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. And after that, I always had pretty good jumps. I don't know that my jumps are still that good now. I'm losing some flexibility, but they were really good after that. And I came to cheer practice a few days later. My coaches were like, where'd you learn?
My mom made me stay up all night.
I'm still too much. Yeah. So it was those little things that she would do for me, just like wanting to see me succeed. And it wasn't anything big. She didn't have to get on me and be harsh with anything. She just wanted the best for me and she wanted me to succeed. And I also remember she thought I was weird for this at the time, but this is still how I work in my head. When I was really little, my mom would come watch me after practice throw a new tumbling skill and I would be nervous to throw it. And she'd be like, God, you can do it. I believe in you. And I'm like, no, I need you to tell me that I can't do it. I need you to look me in my eyes and say that you don't believe I can do it. And she'd be like, okay, sure. But like, she did it. And then I would throw the skill. And that's just how my brain works. She just always would adapt to whatever I needed from her to succeed in that way. I know not everyone can do that. And so just her adapting to little things like that to try and help me do my best was like the biggest thing that has pushed me this far. And obviously, like I said, the pre-competition attitude. Some fights, I'm sure you remember, some of those were pretty bad. We made it through, and my mom's my best friend.
I think all of us moms need to hear that.
It will get better. It will get better. I even remember they got pretty intense at times. I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm sure everyone knows that they get pretty intense. And I tried to explain it to her. Okay, the biggest fights would happen when I couldn't get my eyelashes on. And I'm like, nope, I don't want your help. Respectfully, I don't want your help.
No, all of you. It's all of you.
I know, it's bad. I don't know. I don't know what I can't.
You J3 are the worst. J2s
No.
are, you're all the worst.
I know. And the eyelashes were tough, but we'd always get over it. I'm pretty sure we got in an argument this past year at Daytona. I don't know, actually. It was really early. That didn't help either. It never ends. And it's not even, I think a lot of it has to do with the stress. The moms are equally as stressed as we are. I know that. So the moms are a little bit on edge also. I'm going to give my
Don't try to blame shift
I'm
here.
not blame shifting, but I'm saying we're all on edge. We're all nervous. Okay. It adds a little bit of stress. And when we're stuck in a hotel room together before it's time to go meet our team.
I wish I had endless money to just
Get a separate room.
let you guys.
My parents actually started doing that.
With your friends.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Which
And I was like,
me and my friends would just get in fights then. So it happens to everyone. It's gonna be okay. We don't hold any grudges.
okay, so what advice would you give?
For moms, I would say I'm gonna be a little bit biased here.
It's okay.
I think that when it does come to our cheer competition attitude, obviously it's not okay to have attitude ever.
Just give us whatever we want.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I think for me personally, what I would need from a cheer mom is space. And as hard as that is to do, as a mom wanting to help and do all these things, sometimes the stress of a cheer competition just takes over and we just need some breathing time and maybe some alone time.
I actually agree with
I think that is the best way to handle it. And you know what? Everyone deals with things differently. Everyone's just different. But I think the best case would be for space and to try and be as supportive as you possibly can be. Because I remember, and I don't blame my mom for any of this, I was a brat before competitions. But there was many times where she'd be like, okay, I'm going to go downstairs, but I love you. And I hope you do amazing. And that just, I'd be like, I love you too. But I needed that. I needed some space, but I also needed to know, okay, my mom loves me. So I think just space and letting your daughters know that you love them and you support them, because it's hard to go compete while you're in an argument with your mom. Because for me personally, my mom I don't think she's ever missed a cheer competition, ever. And I think that when I do perform, that is the one person that I look for. And I need to make sure that she's there. And if I don't see her, I'm definitely not going to do good. She always makes sure that I see her before I start my routine. And I think it's just important to at least go out there knowing, okay, my mommy's here. And she's supporting me, even though I was a brat, and I love her. And I'm going to give her the biggest hug after this. So I think moms, do whatever you can to maybe bite your tongue sometimes and just be supportive. But don't get me wrong, if it's intense, I understand.
No, I think you're right, and you're on to something there.
Yeah.
Like I've said this before too, is okay, give them their space, let them know you're here and you love them. And moms, I know we worry about like them forgetting their bow or them forgetting their shoes or their no-show socks, and that's when we start to hover. Do you have this? Do you have this?
Yeah.
And if they're like, Mom, yes, even if you think that they don't, let them experience that.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. My mom had to start just letting me live and learn a little bit. If I would forget something, that's on you. You won't forget it again. Yeah. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
And I think that also helped me, because now one day I don't have my mom in my hotel room getting ready for my cheer competition or with me while I'm getting ready to cheer a game. I have to know all these things. I have to remember all these things. And her kind of letting me figure that out helped me a lot. Now I'm like aware of everything I need to have, or it will end badly.
What about your advice to cheerleaders in general who maybe look at you and think, I want to be like her? What advice would you give them?
I would say that the biggest thing is to never be too hard on yourself. And I had to learn that the hard way and figure that out on my own, because I feel like cheerleading is very demanding, of course, and it's very cutthroat and stressful, and sometimes it takes over. But I had to start learning to tell myself, at the end of the day, this is cheerleading. This is the sport that I love doing. This is fun for me. Why am I stressing about something? And totally understand, like, competing at competitions, you're obviously going to be stressed and anxious before you compete. But I'm more talking about like throughout the season and practices and a week before Worlds or Summit or whatever competition you're nervous about. It's hard to not be hard on yourself and be down on yourself if you're struggling ever. But I think that it's like very important to prioritize your mental health, and your stress that you have within the sport needs to be like managed, because I think it plays a big part in the psychological aspect of cheerleading. And I think you are too hard on yourself, you'll end up not wanting to do it anymore. I don't think it's talked about enough. More people need to realize, like, I'm doing this because I want to have fun and I love doing this. I'm not gonna stress myself out about a skill that I have a mental block on, or like it should not carry on into my everyday life. This is my sport. I'm out of practice, and then it should stay there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I
Good
just
advice.
had to learn how to not carry on my bad practices into the rest of my week and my days. And it's hard to get to that point when you do love it so much. It's my whole life. So how am I not going to think about it at school the next day? But I think that it's important for young athletes to know that even elite levels or in college cheer, like everyone struggles. Everyone has more bad days than good days, honestly. And I think that it's not portrayed that way. I think that everyone sees the good, and on social media, we post these crazy fun stunts, but we only hit that 1 out of 500 tries before that. And I think I just want everyone to know that it's important to prioritize your mental health and knowing that it's just cheerleading and it's all gonna be okay. And you're gonna love this sport and you're gonna wish you can do it forever. But don't take it so seriously and have fun with it because it goes by so fast. You don't want to spend your time stressing a skill that at the end of the day, that's not what you're gonna remember from cheer time. You're gonna remember the fun competitions and hanging out with your friends in the hotel rooms. And I don't remember half of my performances. Like, I don't even remember them. I just remember the friends and the relationships and the family aspect of most cheer gyms. That's what I remember. I don't remember hard times as much. Yeah, I think just don't take it too seriously and have fun because cheerleading is fun. It's supposed to be.
Thank you for spending some time with me and with us in the Cheer Mom Hive and the Cheer Mom Pod.
Of course. And
Before we go, I have something for you.
have something.
Not very many people have these,
I'm
but
nervous.
these are the official Cheer Mom sunglasses.
Stop it. Are you serious? Are you
They're
serious?
yours. Yeah. Do you like them?
Oh my gosh, so me. Are you kidding?
I thought they would look good on you.
Are you? You know me. Know that I wear like big sunglasses like this, and I love to look like a man. I can't wait till I'm a cheer mom.
You already are. You have a 5-year-old sister.
Can I be added
Okay.
to the club, guys? Will you guys accept me as a cheer mom?
We'll put a poll in the. We'll take a vote. We'll see.
Oh my god, you're the best. Yeah, let me know, guys. 'Cause when I'm getting older, I'm technically an adult.
An
And
adult.
I have a little sister, okay?
2 little sisters.
2 little sisters.
And you can do hair
I can do
and
hair.
makeup, and she can get the girls to take pictures, guys. It's
Yeah. If
amazing.
you ever need me, need my help, if I'm ever at a cheer competition, can't do a call me.
Or
Get Chris to
even,
call.
okay, and we sign every podcast. We sign out of every podcast.
Okay.
What you just said. I say, remember, it's just cheerleading. So,
Really?
yes. Do you want to sign us off?
5, 6, 7, 8. Remember, it's just cheerleading. Did I do that right?
5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I do that. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how I get or something.
I like that.
Anything. Yeah. When I get out of bed every morning, I have to do that.
I'm gonna do that.
Do it. Try it. Like, it's
I'm
like
gonna do that.
5, 6,
Oh
7,
my
8
gosh.
up. Yeah. Do it. Everyone else try that too. Let me know if you like that.
That's gonna be the name of this podcast.
5, 6, 7, 8. I love it.